Miami Dolphins, Philadelphia Eagles could be a prequel to the Super Bowl later on this year. Could actually be Tua Tagovailoa's statement game that I am going to be the MVP of this league. Right now, you're a betting man or woman, smart bet to bet Tua Tagovailoa going to win MVP. ESPN ranking him number one most likely to win MVP. Listen to these stats, Vlad. So far through these 6 games, 1,876 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 74.7 QBR, plus 21 rushing yards. He's favored. And you know why? Because those stats I just told you.
And also, the Dolphins have the top offense in the league, and you're looking at a league right now where the scoring is really, really down. It's one of the lowest scoring years in the NFL. But you know one team that doesn't have a problem scoring? Team down here in South Florida.
Your Miami Dolphins.
Oh, your Miami Dolphins.
Here's what it says. Tua Tagovailoa leads the most high-powered offense the NFL has seen since the greatest show on turf, hence the greatest show on surf. Miami has the second most total yards, 2,992 through 6 games ever. That's not just this year, ever, behind only the Rams in 2000. And leads the league in scoring this season with 37.2 points per game. That's nearly a touchdown more than the next closest offense, the 49ers, with 30.7. Tagovailoa has been ranked in the top 5 of Caesar's MVP odds for consecutive weeks. He leads the league in touchdown percentage, 7.1%, and is third in QBR, 74.7. And the 25-year-old is the only quarterback to throw for at least 3 touchdowns in 3 games this season. He is dialed in. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's second year in this offense, an offense that Mike McDaniel has tailored for him, and he knows the guys very well. And the ball, I mean, he has a quick release. Tua's playing, he's quarterbacking. The man is quarterbacking, and that's, you can't knock him for that. Like, there's nothing you can say. No more. There's no worry about the man's arm. There's no more worry about can he quarterback, his size, everything like that. And knock on wood right now, the first 6 weeks, his health has been great. The offensive line has done a good job for the most part of keeping him upright. But tomorrow night, you are going against one of the best front fours in the NFL.
One of the best defenses.
And one of the best defenses. Their secondary can be had. So if the Dolphins' offensive line, I think the battle is between the offensive line of the Dolphins and the defensive line of the Eagles. If the Dolphins' offensive line can do a good job, they don't have to do a great job, just a good job. I think Tua's going to find those guys. He's going to find Waddle. He's going to find Tyreek. He's going to find Berrios. He's going to find those guys, and it's going to be an up and down game. If our front four of Philly starts dominating, the Dolphins' offensive line don't want to give the Eagles the ball because they're going to run the ball. That's my fear. And on the other side, the fear is though their offensive line against the Dolphins' defensive line, if they run the ball. I mean, I will not forget because I had money on the game. Monday night game between the Buccaneers and the Eagles, they got the ball with 9 minutes left, and the Buccaneers were trying to make a comeback, and they ran the ball 9 minutes. Like, they ran the game. That was it. 9 minutes.
I mean, how do you beat a team that has a really good offense like the Dolphins?
Run the ball. Keep the ball away.
Ball.
Keep the ball away from them. That's why I figure.
Take the air out the ball, run the ball, convert third downs, keep the ball out of their hands.
Dolphins, yes. Because if there's any 3 and outs or there's like third and longs and anything like that, and they put they bring the pressure, it's gonna be it could be a tough game for the Dolphins. So it's battle in the line of scrimmage. Dolphins offensive line against the Eagles defensive line.
Let me give you a caveat towards Tua Tagovailoa winning this year's NFL MVP. Besides the health thing, of course, everybody has to stay healthy and play to win the MVP. That's a given. There have not been many MVP caliber games this season to start his campaign. All that can change tomorrow night, though.
And also,
listen, they say a 309 4-touchdown performance against the Broncos, which the Dolphins won by 50 points, is certainly top of the list.
I'm trying to think of
not sexy
primetime games. I can't remember a really good Tua primetime game yet.
Nope. Tua completed 88.5% of his passes that day against the Broncos. And when Miami needed him most in week 6, down 14-0 against the Panthers, he threw for 262 yards, 21 for 31 passing, 3 touchdown passes, and no interceptions to earn the Dolphins their 5th win. I'll tell you right now, those two, although they are some of his best games, not very sexy.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So the sexy game is going to be, a nationally televised game against a team like the Eagles, where if you put up those numbers, there's no way nobody, and there's no way anyone could say, "Oh, he's not the guy."
Yeah, well, I would argue that the sexiest game would be against the Chargers in the beginning of the year.
But what I'm saying, it was a nationally televised game.
Right. This is all eyes on me.
All eyes on me.
8:20 against the NFC defending champions.
West Coast is watching you. The Central Time Zone, Mountain, everybody's watching you. You're the only game in town. The only game on TV. They're all watching you.
This is your statement game. Go out there, ball out. You don't have to have the gaudiest numbers, but be the better quarterback. Win the game. You can solidify yourself as the favorite for the MVP.
He did have a good game against the Patriots. That was a good game.
Didn't score a ton of points. They kind of handcuffed him a little bit.
But he won. But this is a one where you could say, like, if you, especially.
But once again, you beat a team that only has one win. Let's say it's not that sexy.
But it was week 2.
Yeah, once again.
It was week 2.
But those 3 games are not that sexy. The Chargers, at least, some people give them some credit for that, I would say. But nonetheless, none of them are sexy. Tomorrow night could be the sexy game.
Well, because of like you said, you painted the background earlier when you said the Saban Bowl, Hurts versus Tua. I took your job. I made you go to Norman.
I'm still better than you.
I got drafted higher than you.
I'm gonna get paid more than you.
And then he said, "All right, that's cool. That's cool. I led my team to the playoffs quicker than you. I won playoff games faster than you. I took my team to the Super Bowl faster than you. I was second in MVP before you. I got the big bag before you. Yeah.
Although actually, it's better to get the big bag after someone nowadays because it's always going to be more.
We'll see.
I'm telling you, man.
We'll see.
Well, number 2 in ESPN's MVP, Patrick Mahomes, for obvious reasons. Number 3, this one's a big question mark, Christian McCaffrey. We don't know how he's going to go with that oblique, but he was having a great season. Number 4, Josh Allen. We know what he can do. And number 5, Jalen Hurts. Which is somewhat
That's crazy. My man is 7-7, and I'm not talking about the
7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Yeah, he's 7-7. He's not taking. I'm not talking about doers and 7-up here. You know what I mean? So I don't understand how he's 5th in MVP.
This is the one I like. Topping the honorable mention list, the guy who I said at the beginning of the season should win MVP. Probably won't. We'll talk about how he could. It's going to take a lot. Our very own Tyreek Hill. Here we go. This is what they say on ESPN. Remember when Hill vowed to have 2,000-yard season? Yeah, we remember that. We agreed with him, right? Both of us? Yes. The league's top receiver is on pace to get there with 42 catches, 814 yards, and 6 touchdowns through 6 games. That is the second most yards by any receiver through 6 games ever. Hill leads the NFL in receiving yards per game, 135.7, and yards after the catch, 336. And he has turned 35 receptions into first downs, tied for first. He is the wideout whom no defense wants to face. Dare you to put Darius Slay one-on-one tomorrow against Tyreek Hill. I dare you to put anybody from the Eagles one-on-one with Tyreek Hill tomorrow. You better have a good push with that front 4 because you're playing a dangerous game of Russian roulette. I dare you. Dare you don't scheme against Tyreek Hill. Let your guy just have his talent against his talent. What you think, Vlad? You don't think Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, starts throwing up the deuces early and often?
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know how the Eagles gonna defend that. Their secondary is kind of suspect. It's been suspect. And you got, not only you have Tyreek, you have to deal with, you got Waddle as well, and Mostert. You got a lot of speed that's going to be on that field. It's going to be a good game. A lot of athletes. It's going to be like Alabama. It's like the NFL version of Alabama versus Georgia.
What would it take for Tyreek Hill to win the MVP? Because, of course, you'd have to figure that Tua would be the one throwing it to him and his numbers would continue to escalate. What if Tyreek Hill...
You want to know how the only way Tyreek Hill can win MVP?
He has to have a bunch of signature catches.
No, because then who's throwing him the ball?
Well, I know that's what I'm saying, but I'm not
Mike
finished.
White would have to be the quarterback,
right? And if that happened, we don't need to see that. But
that's the only way.
And I'm not saying knocking Mike White. I'm saying we need Tua Tagovailoa in there if we're going to want to try to win a championship.
There's no way we when we were talking about this yesterday, there was no if he's catching 2,000 yards.
That's not the question I asked you. I said, what does he need to do to win?
There's nothing he can do.
Nothing. So you're telling me if he has signature catches all over the place,
who's throwing him the ball?
Doesn't matter. What if he starts returning kicks?
What do you mean doesn't matter? You can't catch the ball.
What if he starts returning kicks? You're not listening. You're not answering any questions that I ask you.
Returning kicks? So wait, so all of a sudden Nebraska Barrios is not returning kicks now?
What if they say, look, Tyreek Hill, we need your explosiveness?
No. Now you throwing things into it. Now, okay, why don't you know what?
I asked you a tough question. What would it take?
That ain't no tough question. I just told you the damn answer. Ain't nothing he can do.
And I said, what would it take?
The only way he could be MVP is if Tua Tagovailoa got hurt.
Okay, then that's your answer.
That's the only way. But you're not saying, well, what if he punch returns? Oh, what if he
kick return?
What are you gonna say now?
Starts playing quarterback?
Yeah, man, come on, man.
Come on.
Stop. What is he, Troy Brown now? You gonna make him Troy Brown?
The man can do it all.
Oh, please.
He wants to win MVP.